Texas Revolution by Heather Gordon and Lindsay Corona. In the early 1800s, Texas was a rich, fertile land that belonged to New Spain, although back then the land was known as Tejas. Both Native Americans and Tejanos occupied this land. Tejanos are people of Spanish heritage who considered Tejas their home. Because this land was an ideal place for raising cattle, farming, balancing trade, many Americans tried to colonize there, claiming that the land was included in the Louisiana Purchase made in 1803. As a result, Spain sent soldiers to drive out the Americans in 1819. However, the soldiers weren't just there because of Americans. Spain also had been having a dispute with the Native Americans who had revolted when Spain started its colonization. For this reason, Spain wanted more settlers to come and fight against the natives. They did this by offering huge tracts of land to empresarios. When this plan failed, Moses Austin asked Spain for permission to start a colony, which Spain eagerly accepted. Unfortunately, he died, but his dying wish was fulfilled when his son, Stephen Austin, took over. Again, in 1821, another problem arose when New Spain gained its independence. Because of this, Austin's land claim was canceled. Although it took him almost a year to persuade the new government to let him colonize, he eventually did, and between 1821 and 1827, Austin attracted 297 families, known as the Old 300. When Spain agreed that Stephen Austin could colonize, he had agreed that all the settlers would follow Mexican rule. That meant learning Spanish and giving up the practice of slavery, which many settlers refused to do. One reason being that they outnumbered the Tejanos 6-1. Santa Anna, the president of Mexico at the time, in response closed Tejas to further colonization, placed taxes on the citizens, and even sent more troops to the area. This caused a revolution. In 1836, war broke out in Texas. The head of the American Army was Sam Houston. The first big battle was called the Battle of the Alamo. Earlier, Texans drove Mexican troops out of an old mission in San Antonio called the Alamo. On February 23, 1836, Santa Anna's 6,000 troops surrounded the 183 volunteers. The next day, the Mexican army started to shoot at the Alamo. This lasted for 12 straight days, but on the 13th day, the Mexicans attacked. By the end of the 13th day, all of the 183 volunteers had been killed. The only people that Santa Anna let live were a couple of children and women, so that they may tell of the horror that they had witnessed that day, so that the rebellion might come to an end. This filled the Texans with rage, and many joined Sam Houston's army. His army moved deeper and deeper into Texas, and Santa Anna followed. This cut off Santa Anna's army of supplies. The Battle of San Jacinto gave Texas its independence. On April 21, 1836, the Texans attacked Santa Anna's army, killing half of the army in 18 minutes. As a result, Texas gained its independence. This new country was known as the Lone Star Republic, and Sam Houston was elected the president. In 1836, Texas requested statehood into the United States, but was declined due to the fact that some Northerners didn't want another slave state to join the Union and upset the balance in Congress. Others were afraid this would lead to war with Mexico. Texas stayed independent for another 10 years, and even after all this time, another war was needed to gain Texas as the 28th state of America.